Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Thursday, June 4th, 2020. If you are watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku Showboat. Leave a follow to be notified when I go live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can do all of the social stuff through the links below the video, including supporting Planandon's Mods development at patreon.com/Planandon. And myself at patreon.com/Otaku Showboat. I'm just going to move this a little bit. Out of the way. At least a little bit further away. It's always going to be in the way. Is Immortal late? No, I literally just did the intro. That's it. That's all. Just intro on this particular day. As I can't even stream my own stream, apparently, because it's like doing weird loady stuff on my other screen. I think I have to like refresh or something because it doesn't look right. It's like behind or something. I don't know, but refresh looks like it's good now, ish. Still loading and like delaying. I don't know. I might have problems downloading right now. Don't have any problems uploading. We have 0 dropped frames on this particular day. So updates. I did the June update video that's on YouTube right now, giving a thank you to all of the patrons on Patreon, as well as going over what we got done in May, the happenings of May, and the ideal plans going into June. It's just going over like what we have on our to-do list here, trying to see what can get done in June. So yeah, that video is up on YouTube right now. As of yesterday. What else to say? I did a lot off screen that we'll get into shortly. And the cats, the kittens, yes. So the kittens yesterday, the kittens came in to my office. Both of them were in my office, and they took a nap behind me on a. I have one of those Snuggie blankets, one of those like blankets with sleeves. It's behind me on the floor, and they used it as a bed for their afternoon nap. So that was interesting to have them. They finally together were in here, and were comfortable enough to sleep in here. So that's nice. They're more comfy now. They're more comfy around the house. But anyway, let's get into the game. That sounds like plan. Let's get into game. As I see that my stream is now frozen on my other screen, on the actual like preview on my stream manager. It's just not moving. I do hope that other people are having a better time than I am of watching my own stream as it streams. All right. So, the base. A couple things happened off screen. Let's just say that the only Tholins that I now have being produced are for cyanic acid. So once I get this cyanic acid completed, once this build is done on the cyanic acid, I will no longer have any Tholins whatsoever in the entire base being produced or used for anything. So that's an accomplishment. You may notice the flashing over here. I sorta just did a deconstruction planner that I went from like down here all the way up to here. Oh god, that's not a nice thing. Don't you hate it when it's just a dial tone that is being picked up on the answering machine? That's just a it was the answering machine going off, and then a dial tone, which means that the machine actually records the dial tone. So you have to then, if you don't want the machine to actually beep at you constantly saying that it has a message on it, you have to then go in and delete it. So yay! And for the record, in this particular city, all of the protests thus far, because there have been protests in everywhere, insert location in United States, there's some sort of protesting. It's been peaceful. There's been, in fact, the other day it made the news. There were no arrests in this city on the protests that happened. I haven't been. I don't get out much, nor do I intend to get out much. I'd rather not put myself at risk of the virus or those around me at risk of the virus. But anyway, yeah. So I was talking about I did a deconstruction planner on all of the trees and the rocks from like the bottom all the way up to the top. The game ran at like 12 less than 10 UPS while doing that until I let go of the button. Uh, Setting for deconstruction over like 200,000 units of stone and wood and all that. So yeah, stuff things. Stuff things. Yeah, there's been no updates to the Pi suite thus far, although there are several updates that are like in the queue, including there was more work done on the oil natural gas switching for Pi PH, and there's a really interesting change being made actually with the production of the fungal substrates, the level 2 and the level 3 fungal substrates, in that they're going to require a little bit more biomass in their recipes. So the improved fungal substrate here would be an example of this. They're going to require a bit more biomass, but they're also going to return an empty petri dish. They're going to return an empty petri dish. Now, that in and of itself is a very interesting prospect, uh, because it means that the simplest, quote unquote, simplest setup on the petri dishes is going to actually be shipping or like having a collection of empty petri dishes and then doing this locally, or like doing the agar production and the empty petri dish production. So you loop back your empties. It's a closed loop on the empties, so you don't have to put the glass in anymore on these. It's just a closed loop on these empty dishes. You set up the agar into petri dishes and into the incubated petri dishes, the extra little like mine to do the incubation of the petri dishes, and that's it. It just loops. It means you're spending effectively just seaweed and steam for agar. Seaweed and steam. That's really it. That will be consumed here, and power and steps and logistics. So that is that. Actually, that is nice. Much better. I am much more inclined now to go into the improved and the advanced substrates, whatever the special substrates. Far more inclined to do this now. Now that it's no longer going to cost glass, it's going to hold some glass, but it's not going to consume any. And that was the biggest pain point there, outside of urea at the start, because need the previous you need the previous thing, and that's urea. But anyway, much more convenient now, I would say. Fortunately, I now have, you know, a big old seaweed build, which I have finished. I have finished putting the buildings down on this seaweed build, so now I have the full 150 per second, 5 red belts of stuff. And yes, I do know about the enriched biomass stuff giving the what is it? It's wastewater for your that you could get urea out of. I do know that you can get the urea through that process of the enriched biomass stuff, and we'll have a look at that once I really do get into thinking about all that. I need a tech moving. It should move relatively quickly. I've off screen. I've placed all of the remaining Moondrop greenhouses in here. The reason for that is because I was carrying some around because of other things. This whole thing here is new. I did this off screen. What is this? What is all of this? Well, this is ammonia. So I have an ammonia setup now. This is 400 per second of ammonia. It this this should look a little bit familiar because this is this. So I just copied this from our little Cyanic build over here, and placed it down over here, and that's ammonia now, just on the train network. And I'm now requesting ammonia in other places. Got rid of any other place that was doing tholins for the ammonia, and it's great. Right here, say hello to organic solvent from acetone syngas. This is organic solvent from acetone syngas because, as it turns out, according to the yet another Factorio calculator, which I did finally properly start, you actually have to. So, what my problem with it initially is that you have to actually tell it where the mod folder is, even though it's in the default location. I don't know, something's weird about its ability to find the mod folder. If you don't tell it where the mod folder is, it's not going to even attempt to load the mods. Like, it doesn't know what the default location is somehow. But anyway, I did that. It loaded up all the PySuite stuff, and I set up in it this build. I asked it for an organic solvent recipe, and the lowest price organic solvent recipe just so happened to be the acetone syngas one. So I was like, okay. This is after looking at all of the options. It told me, hey, this one is the better one. Yes, YAFC. That I did set it up. I did tell it where the mod folder was, and it loaded all the things, and I set up a little this factory. Yeah, they're a little bit broken, but they're a guide. I don't they're just gonna give you an idea. Sometimes it's obvious when it's not quite accurate. So just take it with a grain of salt. It's not always going to be accurate, but I think in this case it is accurate that the organic solvent from acetone and syngas is the cheaper organic solvent recipe overall. Although I have given thought to the arthropod blood one. We shall see about that. But basically, it's saline water. I'm now primarily doing out of salt. Where possible, I've got some crude oil in, and I brought some tar from over here in. And it's making saline, it's making chlorine out of the saline, voiding the excess. I've got a coal input because I need the coal input in here anyway. I'm just gonna start going tech by tech at this point. Doesn't really matter. I needed a coal in. It's feeding into this, and it's feeding the salt production. I'm also, yeah, coal dust out of coal here, making the titanium tetrachloride locally out of the chlorine and stuff, converting the oil into distillates for the cumene. For the cumene, I'm doing this exact process in my mall right now. Like this whole thing, this entire thing is being done in my mall right now. So I just put it as a separate factory, all all nice and neat. All it needs is coal and titanium, effectively, when it's placed near salt and a source of oil and a source of tar. All three of which I also have on my train network, so it really doesn't matter where I place this thing as long as I bring stuff in. I'm voiding the ash. The ash is being voided out of this. Um, the flue gas and the actual ash itself is all going into this. And as is the excess phenol. So this ends up being a phenol station along with excess ammonia and, of course, the primary product of organic solvent. Now, what this combined has allowed me to do is get rid of the little bit of tholins that were over here. I have set up this train station that will bring in the organic solvent, the ammonia, as well as eventually the cyanic acid for up here. And it has allowed me to replace the tholins on the niobium build. So the niobium build used to have this gigantic array of tholin production out here that was being used to make organic solvent, as well as ammonia, as well as chlorine. So what I did with the chlorine for the HCl right here is I tapped these two salt mines. Since I was already bringing in coke anyway on the train station, I brought in those. I added the inputs here for these two. Thank you so much for the follow. For the ammonia and the organic solvent, added all of that, and it's just working. It works now. It's fine. 0 tholins now for the whole of the niobium build. It's glorious. Glorious, glorious, glorious. Yeah, stuff. Things. So, that just leaves finishing this cyanic acid build before we can move on to more wonderful things related to the high-grade lead and silver processing. Because that's the goal, ultimately, is high-grade lead and silver. I've already prepared my inventory with the things-ish that I need to complete this build. And you can see as I go along, I've got all of the stuff on Deconstruction Planner, so as I walk through, I will, of course, be able to clean my map. These won't last forever. In fact, the Deconstruction Planners are very quick to die. The game voids them after a little while, which is a little unfortunate. It also means I can't use my termite bots, by the way, because the termite bots ignore stuffs. Where am I even going? Over here. Hello! Welcome. I need to do things. We are now working on the cyanic build, officially. This build, as I said off screen, I put the remaining Moondrop greenhouses down on this. Oh, hello, tech. Take that one. So all of those have been placed. All that's left is the 5 botanical nurseries. And all of the wonderful logistics associated with these botanical nurseries. So, yeah. Botanical nurseries. These things for the Moondrop in particular. So they make Moondrop, which you know, it's ever so slightly problematic. Makes this a little bit more annoying. Oh, it was most likely King that made this particular recipe. Most likely King made this recipe. It just loops back. That's all it does, is it just loops back. But then you have to think about, okay, now I need to have the output of the actual seeds. Yeah, sure. That's how that will look. Whoops. I am totally doing the undergrounds for this. And that should be the seeds out, which, yeah, it's just, you know, simple stuff from here. As long as I can aim correctly. Let's do this. Use my undergrounds. Oops. And that should be that. Now I just need to bring the... Well, give it power and bring the moondrop in. Hello? There you go. Now you've got power. Beautiful, glorious, wonderful power! Let's bring this over. Now, I will note as well that as of yet, the oil has not been changed for producing biomass. Cough, cough. So I don't need to worry about that quite yet being changed. As I said, this is probably going to need to be adjusted by a factor of about 5 on the ratio of oil to biomass. But anyway, eventually I expect that to happen because, you know, this is totally about 5 yellow belts of output of biomass for two oil derricks, small oil derricks. You know, 2 to 5 red belts, or yellow belts, excuse me. That's a big difference between 5 yellows and 5 reds. Huge difference. Not 5 yellows, it's 3 yellows, but anyway, you get my point. 3 yellows for 2 crude oils. Let's see, what's next? That's all productivity, or production science packs, all of that. All of that is production science packs. So, I guess... cathodes! Yeah, sure, Nixie tubes, because... yeah, I have that mod. Oh. Right, that was quick. Radar efficiency 3, go. Do your thing. I think I'm ready now. Has it moved? Has it done its thing? Do I have the what? Oh, right. Input. I need to do inputs. What took me so long to research them? You see how much I've used them, right? You see the times where I've needed to use them. Hasn't happened yet. I should use them, absolutely, to give a visual indication of how much stuff is in things. That's what they're really used for. That's what I use them for. Anyway, just to tell me how much stuff I have in things. It doesn't really matter what stuff either. It can be fluid, it can be solids. It doesn't matter. It's just a visual indication of how much stuff is in a thing. Not like I particularly look at how much stuff is in a thing all that particularly often. Sure, more radar efficiency. I can go to 6 because I actually have mill science. Alright, that just leaves the logistics on the methane. Because we should now be starting to produce the methane. And then I have to place down all the coal. That's the end of that. This, I think, is fine. Yeah. This part is fine. To combine everything. Like so. So all of the outputs are good there. Oh, right, the CO2 needs to be attached as well. Ah, goodness. Right. So we've got 1... Oh, hello, tech. Oh, I can't do 6? Oh, right. That's going to take a little bit of time. I guess we're working on this now. Pipe logistics! Beautiful, wonderful, glorious pipe logistics. Where's the third one? Oh, it's there. Hello, stuff. Yeah, all these personal RoboPort things. That'd be great. That's that one. That's that one. How do the module researches work? It's Bob's modules. So with the modules in Bob's modules, you make the circuit boards that this tech unlocks. The modules tech unlocks all these little speed, effectivity, productivity, and pollution cleaning and producing circuit boards. You have to make these circuit boards, and these act as science, basically, as well as the cases and the main boards. Those all count as a science pack for the special modules lab, which is a regular lab plus 5 each of speed, effectivity, and productivity circuit boards, which, you know, each one of those is 2 circuit 1s, 2 circuit 2s, and a PCB2, and a solder. Yeah. A little expensive with Bob's mods. Just think of it as the first 2 types of circuit boards from Bob's is of what it is normally, but because PySuite, yeah. Am I doing it at the moment? No, I'm not. And the reason why is that even if I start unlocking these techs, I can't actually make the modules themselves until I get module contacts, which is gold. So the whole point here is I can't do the module contacts yet, so there's no point in me going through and making any of these, going through these techs at this moment in time. I could, theoretically, once I run out of normal science to do, and if I, because let's face it, I'm not going to have purple science by the time I clean all of this not purple science tech Like, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get through everything that's not purple science slash yellow science at some point. And then I'll think about doing it that particular setup, but we shall see. I need water. How much water? 2 waters, but I didn't actually do a combined setup on these on the water side of things, so I'm just gonna go like here. Grab 3. Then go over here for these 3. Doink, doink, doink. And we have methane. And we have methane. Oh yeah, and the fact that it takes circuit 2s and I'm not even remotely close on the circuit 2s. Right, I need a tech. You. Sure, night vision goggles for what good that would do me at the moment. Alright. The methane is moving. Huzzah. All that's left is to... Oh. Hi. Belt immunity! Sure. That will be very different once I have the belt immunity equipment going. So I'm gonna grab... I'm gonna grab you. I don't know about stacking at the end at the moment. Actually, I will stack at the end. What do you need? That. 1, a 2, a 3. So, this. Why this? Why does this look like this? This looks like this primarily because productivity is a thing. I need one below and above. Productivity is a thing. Mining productivity is a thing. And belts... sometimes when the productivity happens to trigger along with a normal cycle, as is normal, there's a slight delay because it then has 2 units that it needs to offload. And there can be a very slight delay when offloading these onto a belt. There is 0 delay when it is offloading into some form of a chest. So what that means is that it can offload all units that it has produced, including the productivity one, instantaneously, and continue mining continuously. Otherwise, if it has a unit in itself, it stops mining for that brief period of time until it can empty itself. That is precisely why I do this. I'm just gonna, like, do that and just, give it some power. Let's go! Power! Alright, I need to see my vehicle to grab a whole bunch of loaders, because this uses tons of loaders. Tons of loaders. Tons of chests. Half as many chests as mining drills. Alright, what's next on this list? We've got flamethrowers. Sure. For what good that'll do. Flamethrowers are next. Alright. that. There, and there. Hello, tech. More damage on flamethrowers. Slash stuff and things. Okay. So I already have the unstacking set up, so we're done. We're done now. The Cyanic shall flow. It's flowing, it exists, it lives, it's great, magnificent, and fantastic. Grab one of those. And there we go. Cyanic! Cyanic exists on the train network. Now to add the train. With fluid wagons. Give it some fuel. Be like, hey, you are the Cyanic station, and then the Cyanic depot. Once you are full, sure, we'll do you until you're full, and then circuit condition, and you are good to go. This setup is like 400 per second ish of Cyanic. I am pretty sure it is 400 per second. I would need to double this to get more. Just saying. I am definitely not interested in doing the urea-based cyanic / ammonia for this. That sounds like a terrible idea. So what is the timing, though? 50,000 units divided by 400 per second is a little over 2 minutes of production, if it's all operating 100%. Which, you know, it should be, as long as the coal makes its way all the way down. As all of the boxes get full, because note that the boxes do hold a fair amount of stuff in them on these decompressors, and I'm using loaders here, so you have to, you know, fill the internal thing as well for all of these. Once it gets completely full, and of course the further down you go, the longer it will take to completely fill each of these. Eventually, with all the buffers getting filled, it will operate smoothly at all times, give us the full 400 per second out of that, theoretically. All right, good. That's all done now. All completely done. We're good. We have Cyanic. Once the train goes, like actually goes, and it goes up here where it will fill this. The train is on the way up there. That'll be our next destination, so that I can actually hook that up all the way up here to this Cyanic, and then delete all of this.